Federal immigration agents arresting hundreds of undocumented immigrants in at least 4 states this week in a 5-day enforcement surge officials describe as routine. The operation, which netted 161 people in Southern California, prompting major demonstrations in downtown Los Angeles. Their anger comes on the heels of President Donald Trump's executive order barring refugees and immigrants from 7 majority Muslim nations. That order is currently on hold, though Trump on Friday said he was considering a new executive order to restore his controversial travel ban.
Protection of the nation.
President Donald Trump considering a new executive order to restore his controversial travel ban and circumvent any future courtroom showdowns over it. The president making the comments during a surprise visit with reporters aboard Air Force One Friday.
But we also have a lot of other options, including just filing a brand new order on Monday. Could very well be. We'll see, but on Monday or Tuesday.
Meanwhile, in Greece, some 70,000 people had to be evacuated so authorities could defuse a World War II-era bomb. This took place in Thessaloniki, Greece's second largest city. The bomb was discovered at a construction site during excavation work. Residents were given notice and were forced to evacuate, some going by car, others packing into buses. Eventually, the bomb in question was removed and taken to a military range to be safely destroyed. Everyone has been allowed to return to their homes.
Germany's Hamburg airport had to be evacuated and all flights suspended for around an hour after dozens of passengers became ill from the discharge of a toxic substance. Firefighters said 68 people suffered problems, including eye irritation and breathing difficulties. During the time that both terminals at Helmut Schmidt Airport in the northern German city were closed, around a dozen incoming flights had to be diverted to other airports. 9 people had to be taken to hospital, though none was seriously affected by the incident, which occurred in an area where passengers' hand baggage is scanned by security staff. The fire service said what appeared to be a pepper spray canister had been recovered at the scene.
Officials have ordered residents near one of the nation's biggest dams to evacuate the area, saying a hazardous situation is developing after an emergency spillway severely eroded. Video taken Saturday by the California Department of Water Resources shows water flowing over the spillway of the Oroville Dam in Northern California. The department said Sunday that the spillway could fail, unleashing uncontrolled floodwaters from Lake Oroville. Authorities say people in downstream areas need to leave immediately. Water began flowing over the emergency spillway at the dam on Saturday after heavy rainfall and unexpected erosion chewed through the main spillway earlier this week. Officials predict water will continue to flow over the emergency spillway for another day or so.
Well, good morning, Dan. Yeah, this morning these rescuers are now combing through the rubble from Friday's devastating earthquake. A 6.5 in magnitude, the quake just struck in the Surigao del Norte province, which is about 430 miles southeast of Manila. Striking in the middle of the night and centered near several densely populated urban areas, the powerful quake just tore through the homes, leveled commercial buildings and gas stations, and sent chunks of concrete from apartments just crashing down onto cars below. Much of the city is still without power, and response teams from the national government are rushing more than 8,000 emergency food packs to families in the harder to reach areas. Now, survivors from the city are now making their way back to damaged homes and businesses. Now, experts are saying that the quake was likely triggered by the Philippines' fault, part of that highly active zone known as the Ring of Fire, which makes seismic activity a somewhat routine part of life for countries along its edges. This morning, with visibly shattered roadways and massive cracks running through the airport runways, engineers in several major port cities are assessing the damage and preparing for possible aftershocks.
At least 12 people have been killed in a series of landslides in Bali. Torrential rain is being blamed for at least 3 major landslides which have decimated villages and buried locals. Families watched in horror as emergency crews dug victims from the mud. The country's weather experts are predicting more rain, which could lead to more landslides.
An actual fire tornado. Take a look at this incredible video. This was coming out of the Western Australia coast. Some of these flames reached about 60 feet tall. Now, keep in mind, fire bans in place in Australia, and the heat is the big story here. In fact, Australia likely to set many more records in the coming days. And so not only the fire is a concern, but also power loss a concern in the country as well.
We have got reports across a number of the fire grounds, particularly those that are subject of emergency warning, that we are seeing property impacted, and we're expecting to see property lost.
Stunning damage in the aftermath of a tornado in New Orleans East. Power lines snapped, cars tossed, houses flattened.
It survived Katrina, but it didn't survive this.
Families across the Gulf Coast today dealing with the aftermath of 9 reported tornadoes. The tornadoes so random in their fury. Look at this house, the roof gone, the bed remains intact. Elsewhere in the country, damage of a different sort. Flooding in the west, a new storm threatening the entire Pacific coast. And on the other side of the country, a winter snap so severe more than 50 cars smashed together in a major pileup on this road outside of Boston.
And we have these extraordinary images tonight of a meteor falling to Earth in Canada. Hundreds reported seeing this ball of flame streak across the sky over the western province of Alberta on Thursday. This video was actually taken from the dashboard camera of a police cruiser. Scientists say it may have been the largest meteor to hit the region in a decade and possibly weighing up to 10 tons.